Whitetail guru Ron Spomer is spotting, stalking, and shooting in the wilds of Alberta, Canada.
I knew we were hunting grasslands and I was pretty comfortable. We're finding them out in the open day after day.
He's 2 miles away. How the heck are we gonna do this?
There's his buck coming out already. Where you said they went in?
Here goes.
Yeah, you never had it?
Maybe the phone.
What's this buck? Yeah, dear. That's a nice little rock on here. Beautiful.
Winchester's World of Whitetail. Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram. There are a lot of places to go in this big wide world, and the new Ram Outdoorsman can get you to every one of them. Cabela's, celebrating 50 years as the world's foremost outfitter. Bushnell, magnify life. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession. And by Otis Technologies, the most advanced gun care systems in the world.
They say Montana is the last of the great places, but an arbitrary line in the ground doesn't mean Alberta suddenly disappeared. From the Rocky Mountains on its western flank, the eastern grasslands roll clear to the north into caribou country. It's a strange-looking whitetail habitat for anyone from the Midwest, but these rolling grasslands with little shrubs and brush, little rivers, actually provide incredible habitat for whitetails.
Ron's hopped the border onto Alberta's vast prairies looking to lock in on a big whitetail with Willow Creek Outfitters in Nanton, just south of Calgary. Alberta is famous for their Boone and Crockett-sized whitetails. These northern bucks have been known to break records, including this non-typical from 2007, which scored over 200 B&C points.
Phew, boy, that was a quick, long hike to warm me up in the morning.
There's a pretty good frame buck back here to the south here, probably about 1.5 miles away. He's kind of going through the willows here. You know, it's a bit of a long look. It's kind of straight out in that open yellow patch there. I can just see some tines glinting there in the sunlight, but it's hard to tell with the distance. And
Well, body looks pretty good.
yeah, but we're gonna have to kind of dodge about a dozen whiteys in front of us here to
get over there.
Him. Yeah.
We can't hardly afford to go south of him. The wind will blow right into him. We've got to come at him from this way or maybe the east.
Yeah, we'll see if these whitetails kind of find a place where they're comfortable and maybe make a play from there. We've been outfitting in this area here for about 10 years. We're hunting for mule deer, whitetail, black bear, and we do some winter coyote hunts. There's vast areas that are not accessible by road. Most of the ranchers stipulate that it's foot or horseback access to get to these places. With a little footwork, we can get into some places that have hardly any pressure whatsoever.
Good choice. I'm impressed with your navigational skills.
Here we are on these big, wide open grasslands in the foothills of the Rockies, and you wonder, why are these whitetail even out here? What are they eating? They're not grazers, they're not eating much grass, but if you get looking closely, there's all kinds of shrubs in here. There's little snowberry, and they like that, and I don't even know what they are, but there's some greenery down here they can actually get hold of.
Whoa, look at the frost on this alfalfa. That must be what they're coming down here to eat. Freshly frosted alfalfa must be a sweet forage for them.
Well, I think we can kind of cut in the direction. We got a crosswind coming this way, but we did have that one doe go in the real thicket, and then two went to the right.
And that big buck went that way too, right?
Yeah, he's kind of back and to the right a little bit too.
So you're just gonna skip that thicket?
I think we'll maybe come around the edge of it. Maybe there's a few trees there in that opening there. I don't know if a guy can maybe set up there. Maybe we have the wind come right in our face. We got a deer going right through that opening where that buck was just passed through the yellow opening there. One in the middle right there.
Yep. A pretty big body deer walking across there. What do you make it as? I almost see antlers sticking up.
That's what I thought.
It's a buck. It is. See if you can rattle that one in, Andre.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's coming. Rattle a little bit more. Suck him straight in so he doesn't shift over.
There he comes.
He's coming into the left. Right there's our baby. Nice brow tines on him. Got our scent. It's a good start.
Good job.
I love it. This is just that magic time when they're coming to those rattles.
Coming up next, Ron and Andre scan miles of grasslands in search of a monster. But they aren't the only predators prowling around on this untamed prairie.
They ran out when we were sneaking in. Doggone those coyotes.
Of course, whitetail hunters are crazy about antlers, but it turns out antlers are crazy in and of themselves. A buck deer will produce testosterone at about 3 months of age, and that will start the periosteum tissue from laying down the pedicel, that little bump of bone under the head that grows the antlers year after year after year. If you scrape some of that periosteum tissue off of the forehead skin and move it to another part of the deer's body that has a blood supply, he'll grow antlers there. This is why you'll sometimes see a buck with an antler growing out of the middle of its forehead or two of them off to the side. They damage that tissue at some point and move it over, and an antler grows.
Ron Spomer is rut hunting in the expansive foothills that unfold in the eastern shadow of the Canadian Rockies. It's the latest chapter in his relentless quest to seek, find, and tag a big, mature whitetail.
I knew we were hunting grasslands, and I was pretty comfortable because I've hunted grassland whitetails up and down the plain states, Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, Texas. I figure a grassland animal is pretty much going to be the same everywhere, but up here, they're living out where pronghorn ought to be, where bison should be. It's not just some grass, it's all grass. And we're spotting deer with the binocular 2, sometimes even 3 miles away, and then of course, you have to go to the spotting scope to see what they are.
Shoot, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they gotta be at least probably 600 or more yards away, I would think, hey?
Oh, more like 900. I can't even get a reading. I mean, he's just lying out there in the middle of nowhere. Talk about using distance for a moat. And with all the coyotes out there stirring them up all the time, I don't know what role that plays in where they decide to go, but it's obvious they don't want to be over in those willows. What spooked him now? He's looking back towards those does. Now they're all going too. Coyote again, I suppose. Doggone those coyotes.
I think you're right. We just need to get...
Ron needs to figure out how to get closer to those bucks, but will most likely have to take a long rifle shot when he does. To make sure that long shot is accurate, Ron always makes sure he knows his rifle inside and out.
When that happy day finally arrives and you get your new rifle, take time to read through that manual and understand exactly how it works. You see some really neat features, like this new Venture rifle from TC. Learn how to take that bolt out, and you can see why it's such a sweet, slick action. It's a full-size body on the bolt, rather than the lugs sticking out past the bolt. They're inside of that same groove, so you don't have them dragging like you do in the old Mauser 98 action. Also, you'll see it has 3 lugs instead of 2. That allows you to have a quick reaction in the cycling of this thing because you don't have to lift it as high. Just a short throw, and that makes for a much faster cycling in your action. So read your manual, learn how everything works from the action to the magazine, reloading it quickly, exactly how the safety works and doesn't work. Get comfortable with the rifle before you go in the field, and you'll be a much happier hunter.
Some of the biggest bucks Ron has ever taken have been from Canada. He's grabbed impressive trophies here in Alberta, so he knows that the big bucks are close by, and he's determined to track them down.
Is this where you were thinking? Setting up?
I think so. I think if we go to some of those last willow brushes, that'll probably put us maybe a couple hundred yards from that main bush where we think he's in. We can start out there, and if we got to get in tighter, we can.
Getting set to rattle now. We're pulling him out of a brush thicket a couple, 300-400 yards in front of us, hoping he'll cross this opening. There's a few things we do for preparation. Get all your gear ready. I like to have my shooting sticks right out front so I can just lift them up, bring up the rifle, and get into it. Before we get started, just in case something comes out at the far distance, I'm gonna hit a few ranges here. Should be just dead on everywhere. Not much chance they'll hear that, but you never know. I think we need to get closer, my friend. It's a long way for rattling sounds to pull them. If we knock 300 yards off, it could make a big difference.
When you have to glass a lot in big country like this, you have got to keep your eye in the glass hour after hour after hour. What you want in a spotting scope for really, really serious work is a variable eyepiece, something that'll twist from 15 power to 45 or 20 to 60. So you need to start with a large objective lens. Got an 80 millimeter on here. They don't get much bigger than that. ED glass helps a lot. It's extra low dispersion glass, and what essentially means is you get rid of color fringing for a sharper image. Now for binocular, you're essentially just sweeping the country with your binocular to find the animals. Then you go to the spotting scope to assess trophy quality. But you can improve the performance of your binocular by keeping them steady. I just use my shooting sticks. It takes a lot of the pressure off your arms for all day watching, and it really steadies things. Having a shaky binocular is about like having a fuzzy binocular.
As Ron and Andre close the gap on their prey, a batch of doe show themselves with a nice buck in tow. So it's time for Ron and his guide to head up the hill and settle in for a quick rattling session.
I might go a little bit higher up the hill here to see over that hump. And I'll get all set up and have you rattle, and either it happens or it doesn't. I mean, that guy was right down there when we got here. He could have booked him again.
So what do you think?
I think let's shoot him.
274 to the front side of the thickest part.
All right. Is it dead on hold? I think the coyote scared him. I don't think he's there anymore. They ran out when we were sneaking in. That darn coyote.
Yeah, we might have to wait till the morning and we'll get up on a good ridge and glass in here and see if we can see him chasing does or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to lose the sun anyway. Half hour back, you reckon?
Yeah, we'll about half hour, 45 minutes to truck it.
Up next, our intrepid hunters spot a big buck in the distance.
Last day, he's 2 miles away.
How the heck are we gonna do this?
It's time to put the sneak on. But will they get that Canadian monarch in range? Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram. There are a lot of places to go in this big wide world, and the new Ram Outdoorsman can get you to every one of them. Cabela's, celebrating 50 years as the world's foremost outfitter. Bushnell, magnify life. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. Otis Technologies, the most advanced gun care systems in the world. And by Mule Deer Foundation, leader in mule deer and black-tailed deer conservation.
The clock is ticking on the last day of Ron Spomer's Alberta whitetail hunt, but there's still enough time to locate and line up one of these legendary brutes of the Sunshine Province.
Check that basin, go to the right quite a ways. There's kind of a grayish ridge that slowly climbs up. There's like 8 deer running around in there all morning. There's got to be a buck in with all those.
Yeah, you see the one up top there?
Yeah.
The real kind of dark-bodied one?
Yeah?
Oh, that's the same buck we seen yesterday that coyote blew out on us. 4 on the one side and the real long brow tines.
Big brow tines? That's got to be him then. Okay, now what? Last day, he's 2 miles away. How the heck are we going to do this?
Well, there's a couple down there going through those openings in those willows, straight down below us.
Way across the pasture?
Yeah. Oh, there's a buck going through the willows right there.
Where?
You can see his horn silhouette on the left side. Oh, he just went into that patch of willows there.
Yeah, I just saw a little bit of motion. But
And some tall tines.
big enough, old enough, mature deer?
Well, I think we should go take a closer look at them.
Hey, let's check out those willows now. We're getting pretty close. I'm worried about this wind. It keeps switching around, goofy like.
Yeah, it's almost done 180 degrees today.
There's your buck coming out already.
Where?
Where you said they went in? That one patch?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
to the left of it.
Oh, yeah.
Up against the second patch. He's got pretty tall rack.
Yeah, I think that's the
Is
same
that
buck.
the one?
Yeah.
We'll get down in this little dip and then they won't see us. We can go another 300 yards easily. And then up that little ridgette.
I think if we just drop our packs, then we can sneak right over the top here.
Okay. Good. Just sit up and rattle and we'll be ready to shoot.
We're getting a little bit too tight. You know, we're right on top of them here.
And we're not 80 yards from those bushes. And he'll be 20 yards from us when he pops up. And that wind switches again. We gotta get out of here. Yeah, that wind's getting bad. We've got to get some elevation. Maybe, what do you think, up to that rose thicket?
Yeah, they'll give us a little bit of space. They'll give them time to come over down there. We have lots of room.
Right in front of this ought to work, Andre.
Yeah.
Let's just sit in front of them. I don't want to get back in there in case something comes off the mountain around us or anything like that. What is that, about 100, 120 yards down here to the edge? If he pops over?
Okay, see the closest brush right there?
Yeah.
140 yards.
Okay.
You're looking at just right around 500, way down the bottom. I think this is our best chance to try to pull him out of here. He must be in there with a hot doe.
Hey, there went a doe right there. Did you see that? Just squirted through there. We better keep tabs on it. How far was that?
420, right to that bush in the
That
middle.
bush? I could do it if I had to, but let's try to rattle him in first. I'll put a round in here. Okay, I'm hot. There's a doe now. Then that darn opening again. Did you see her?
Yeah.
Right by that bush. She ran out again. Something's chasing those does.
Oh, there's something else coming out from the left.
That's a
through the
buck.
willows there.
That's a buck.
Yeah. He's coming through. That's the one we've seen.
Is it
yeah.
the one?
Yeah.
He's behind a tree. He's behind a tree.
Yeah. It's from broadside there.
Stop him. Here goes. Did I get him?
Yep. Dropped him.
Did I?
Good job.
Right there?
Yeah. Good job. That's a heck of a shot.
I came out of recoil, he was gone.
Let's go see what he looks like.
Good job.
It's not like we haven't put enough miles on to get this guy.
Woohoo! I don't think we waited a minute and it showed up. Came around the same bush that the doe did, and I drew Andre's attention to it. He called the range. He said right on that 410, 420 we were looking at. Hey Andre, I think I see an antler. Nice, it's heavier than I thought it was, but it's got the length. Look at the body on him.
That is a mature deer, my friend. Woo! Boy, that's a nice spread. That's going past his ears.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good 19-inch spread. Little got a 5th point going here. That is a 4-year-old deer anyway.
Just when you think you have whitetails figured out, they throw you a curveball. And these Alberta whitetails threw one heck of a curveball. It was more like a knuckleball. Out of nowhere, we're finding whitetails in vast open grasslands, and they're behaving like antelope, using a vast motive distance as their protection. We had a challenge on our hands, and wouldn't you know it, for all of the struggles and the stalks and the roundabouts and the coyotes chasing the whitetails away when they've bedded, all those troubles were for naught. On our final day, we end up here in a willow thicket to kill our buck.